So today I'm sitting with Marcel Lado from Hollywood Screen Printing. Marcel has been involved in screen printing for many years, and he's recently got into DTG printing. So how you doing today, Marcel?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm going to go through these questions. Feel free to expand on your thoughts and give me any information you think might help our listeners.
Absolutely.
All right, so what made you get into DTG printing?
The main reason I got into DTG is because we're family owned and operated, and I own the screen printing company with my brothers. But we were doing it together, and I wanted to branch out and start doing something myself rather than be joined at the hips with my brothers with screen printing. So I got into DTG to try and not only offer something new for our customers, but to start my own path in printing rather than be stuck with my brothers.
Excellent. How long have you had your DTG machine?
Had it for about 8 months now.
And which model did you end up purchasing and why?
I purchased the NeoFlex by All American because I found the family on t-shirt forums to be very helpful. I also saw them at several shows, including ISS and SGIA, and when I went up to them, the staff was very friendly and the prints looked amazing. So I would say first and foremost was customer service, and second was their printing quality.
Excellent. Well, you definitely made a great choice. The NeoFlex has always been my personal preference. Knowing what you know now, is there anything you wish you would have done differently if you had to do the process over again?
Yes, absolutely. I would definitely have taken a lot more time to research. I feel that when I went to the shows, I didn't ask as many questions as I should have. I felt that there's a lot that I still needed to learn in terms of humidity levels, curing of the inks, shirt brands, proper maintenance. I feel that I was just too blown away by the printing quality, and I didn't realize how much work was involved in getting to that excellent print quality. Because there's a lot of work behind the scenes I just wasn't aware of.
That's a very common thing. A lot of people fall in love and become infatuated with the process because of the excellent print quality, and they let their emotions get the better of them and don't really see the ugly side, the behind the scenes part of it. So
Absolutely.
That's great advice for future buyers.
Absolutely.
What brands of shirts do you find yourself printing most often?
I started off with Anvil 980. That was the first t-shirt we got. I read a lot about it on t-shirt forums, that people were getting great results. But then I went to a convention and I came across Cotton Heritage, and ever since then I've been using them. I think that's just a superior t-shirt. Of course you have American Apparel and Next Level, but for the price I think that Cotton Heritage can't be beat.
And you get a great print quality on that, correct?
Oh, superb.
Excellent, excellent. Are there any garment colors you absolutely hate printing on, or that you find more difficult to print on than other colors?
Not more difficult to print on, but I find that reds and blues, due to the heat press temperature, you get that mark. But over time it does go away, but when you have customers that are sitting in the lobby and then I give them the t-shirt, right, and I have to explain that, trust me, this is going to go away, it's just kind of sticky situation.
Absolutely. How many shirts do you think you can print per hour in a realistic production environment, darks and lights?
So dark t-shirts in 1 hour. Now this is not at the start of my day, because at the start of our day we have to prepare files, we have to get the t-shirts from inventory, we have to prepare the layouts and pre-treat the t-shirts. But once all that is done, I find that we can do about so it takes about 7 minutes in high res mode to print a black t-shirt. So once you have your layouts ripped and ready to go, it's just about a t-shirt every 7 minutes.
Excellent. How much time do you spend doing maintenance each day?
I spend a lot of time. Like I clean everything, so it takes me about. I've read that some people can do it in like 5 to 10 minutes, but it takes me about 25. I clean everything. I shake all my inks, including on the printer and in inventory, and setting up the pre-treatment machine and whatnot. So it takes, yeah.
That's
good
an
time.
interesting point you brought up. Shaking your ink daily is very important. A lot of people think that that means you just pull out your cartridges and shake them, but if you've got ink in your inventory, if you got ink on the shelves, you can't let that sit. So you do also go and shake that every day?
Every day.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
Beginning of the day and end of the day, because I'm so fearful of the white ink separating, which it actually has on me, which is why I'm fearful, because there would be times that I was printing, and after printing I would see like water around my whites, and I was told that was because my ink separated because I wasn't shaking enough. So ever since then I shake start of the day and before I go home.
That's great advice. Are there any issues you have run into since you began printing with DTG? And if so, how have you resolved them?
Lots of overnight shipping to get parts to me very quickly. How have I resolved them? Again, the customer service team at All American, they're fantastic, and they've really helped me through a lot of problems. They even gave me their personal cell phone numbers for those times that they went home and I was still stuck, because they're on the East Coast and I'm on West Coast.
Very good. Yeah, no, those guys, Pete and Jung and Justin and Chaucer and all those guys, they're really good guys. They really care about the customer, and they work hard. So a shout out to the All American team. Can't wait to party with you guys again at the next trade show.
Hey, it's going down.
All right. So
and speaking about that, for as much as they help, it's not, a lot of times it's not the machine. It's other things besides the machine that goes wrong that they teach me how to do. For example, a lot of times I haven't put the correct amount of pre-treatment on, which had nothing to do with the machine.
But it makes it look like the print quality is really crappy until you realize what you were doing wrong, correct?
Correct. And sometimes registration was off, and that was just because I didn't clean the what's it called?
The encoder strip?
Encoder strip.
Absolutely.
Which is my fault.
Yeah, it's the little things, it's the details in DTG that can make a big difference, and it's important to understand that going into it.
Absolutely.
What would you consider to be the best thing about DTG printing?
Best thing is the amazement that I get from my customers when they see what we can do. It's just, it blows everybody away when they see what we can do, because they've never seen anything like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and having that ability to print with no minimums, I'm sure you get people coming to you with all sorts of artwork. Do you find that most people come to you with files that are prepared and ready to go, or do you end up having to do a lot of adjustment on those files?
Yeah, so actually every file I adjust. Even people that tell me they have print-ready files, I find the blacks aren't black or the whites aren't white. So we saturate, we mess with the curves, and sometimes the brightness. So yeah, I find that editing, like you mentioned this, we were talking beforehand, how crucial artwork is with direct-to-garment, and it's absolutely crucial. So yeah, we touch every file.
Very good. What do you consider to be the worst thing about DTG printing?
The worst thing is that, well, compared to our screen printing operation, which, if something's wrong, it's pretty clear what it could be. There's not that many things that could go wrong, but with direct-to-garment printing, there's just so many variables. So it's sometimes hard to pinpoint what's wrong.
Takes a lot of skill and knowledge of the inner workings of the machine to be able to efficiently troubleshoot problems.
Absolutely, which just comes with lots of experience and weeks of practice.
Absolutely. So, do you currently use an automatic pre-treat machine, or do you pre-treat by hand?
I have a semi-auto. It's the Viper 1, which I would highly recommend to anybody. It just saves me a lot of time. Sure, it's expensive at first, but I find that in the beginning, you're going to be messing up on a lot of t-shirts. So I find that just having this semi-auto thing makes me troubleshoot the problem a lot quicker rather than doing it by hand.
Well, you kind of touched on this next question. Do you find the pre-treatment process difficult, or was it fairly easy to master?
No, I would say not fairly easy, more on the difficult side of things for sure. What messed with me the most was that when I went to conventions, I wouldn't see pre-treatment on the t-shirts. But when I would pre-treat t-shirts, I would see a mark, and that drove me crazy. And it's a fine line between seeing a mark and the whites that you get, because of course the more pre-treatment you put down, the better your whites look. But at the same time, then you see a box which customers don't like, and it can affect the washability. So
Finding that balance is critical, right?
yeah, actually, now that I think about it, it is difficult.
That's fair. That's fair. And it being so difficult, that's ironic because it's one of the most important parts to the entire process, correct?
Correct. I think that what I would suggest for All American is to stress the importance of pre-treating, because a lot of my issues were from not properly pre-treating, and it wasn't the machine.
It's hard to pinpoint that if you don't know and you don't realize how important it is. Do you think that they should do the pre-treatment process at the trade shows so people could see that before they make their purchasing decision?
Oh, absolutely. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
All right. Let's see. I know you guys are well established in the screen printing industry, which makes up a good portion of your business. How does DTG fit into your overall business model?
It allows us, so we work with a lot of clothing lines, and these clothing lines, they're always testing new colors, new designs, new whatnot. But the difficult thing for them is that they can't order 25 pieces, which is our minimum. And at a lot of colors, it was very expensive. So where this fits is for those clothing lines that want to test out new designs. It's for family reunions that come to us and don't want to order 25 t-shirts. There's a wide range of customers out there that utilize this service. We get a lot of birthdays too.
Yeah, special events, bachelorette parties, stuff like that.
Oh, bachelor events t-shirts are the funnest to print.
Do you feel you could make a good living if you didn't have the screen printing portion of the business and relied only on DTG? If not, what would you like to see changed to make the process more profitable?
So myself personally, I can't see it. Doesn't mean it's not for everybody though. There's obviously smarter people than me, but for myself, I don't think that, especially printing in high resolution like I do, which I think customers want the most, I don't think it's possible to make a good living. I think that it supplements your business. You can attract new customers. You can print a sample and then they'll go to the screen printing, and then that's where you make the money. And that's actually what's happening for the the clothing line customers that I mentioned. They'll order a couple and then come back with a couple hundred with screen printing. So to answer your question, can you make a good living? It is possible. It's difficult. What needs to be done in order to make it that possible, though, to make a good living? The cost of the inks has to go down. Pre-treatment is pretty expensive. I would like to see that go down. And the speed of the printer definitely needs to increase. It takes way too long.
Pretty tough to make a lot of money if you can only print about 6 dark garments in an hour, correct?
Yeah,
So as long as you don't have to rely on that covering all of your shop overhead, and you have the screen printing or the vinyl or any number of other processes to be your breadwinner, then it's an easy add-on, right?
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to print it. Absolutely, yeah. Because the other things cover our overhead. This would not definitely be possible to cover.
Indeed.
A staff, lights, and I only have one machine. Perhaps if you have multiple.
So if you had to rate the following categories on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate them and why? 1 being very difficult or the worst, and 10 being easy or the best. So initial learning curve, 1 to 10. 1 being the most difficult, of course.
So to give some background, we have screen printing. I'm going to compare this to screen printing and vinyl. So 2.
A 2. Okay, so
Guys.
It's difficult compared to some of the other stuff that you've done that you can maybe pick up a lot faster.
Yeah, I'm saying this because, again, my background is in vinyl and screen printing, and not so much digital printing, like digital printing banners, stickers. So perhaps if I had a background in that, it would have been easier knowing how to work with CMYK. But with my background, I'd give it a 2.
Okay. How about ease of use?
Ease of use.
Again, 1 being very difficult to use, 10 being very easy to use. The process as a whole to print a shirt.
I would say 7. Once you have the whole system down, and understanding. Once everything's going smoothly, it's pretty easy.
So it's not terribly complicated, but you wouldn't necessarily hire a new guy and put him on the DTG machine right away.
Oh no, definitely a couple 2 to 3 weeks of training, of watching me. Like, I actually hired a guy over the weekend, a good friend, because my main guy couldn't make it, and he put the CMYK cartridges in wrong. You know, I had to do 2 ink changes, ink charges, and a stage 4 clean before I started seeing the results. Before the same results that I was getting prior to that mistake.
Got it. You had to clean out all that contaminated ink.
Yeah.
How about production speeds? 10 being fast and 1 being slow.
Okay, again, so to compare this to screen printing, terribly slow. To compare it to vinyl, it's tough to say because with vinyl, there's some designs that require a lot of weeding. There's some designs like names you can do very quickly. So I'm not too sure how to answer that question.
Okay. How about reliability?
Reliability, 3.
3. Yeah, it does have a long way to go in terms of overall reliability. A lot of the issues you run into, I'm sure, are fairly easy to resolve, but the fact of the matter is you do have more little issues than you might with, say, screen printing, correct?
Absolutely. With screen printing, you just get the machine up and running. Monday through Friday, for the past 4 or 5 years, the machine's been solid for us. With this thing, sometimes I do the same routine and something goes wrong. I guess I didn't have the right humidity, or I didn't shake the inks correctly, or I don't know.
How about print quality, 1 to 10?
Print quality, 10 being best? 10.
Correct. 10? Very good. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I have not seen better quality prints from almost any other decoration process I've seen.
Well, and specifically with the NeoFlex, though, right?
Yes, correct. Yes. Having that specialized rip and the color profiles and the way it prints, everything about it is designed to get the highest quality print, not necessarily be the fastest machine out there.
Yeah, I've done, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of research on t-shirt forums, but it's one thing to read it there and one thing to read it from yourself because you're the champion and I know you've been in the industry for a long time. So when you told me how wonderful this machine was, it really made me proud that I made a good decision.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm happy you are happy with your decision. How about the durability of the print? How does the final print hold up after curing? 10 being the best.
Compared to screen printing, I would say 7.
7. So it's a pretty durable. Your customers are happy with it as long as you cure everything properly.
Yeah, but I find, to be honest, screen printing, there's nothing like screen printing plastisol.
Yeah, plastic-based ink is going to hold itself on the shirt a lot longer, I would imagine, than water-based inks would.
Yeah, and vinyl too. So I'm comparing this to what I see with my vinyl and with my screen printing.
Okay, that's great. So to close it up, is there anything else you wish you had known prior to getting into DTG printing?
Yeah, again, I wish that a lot of my headaches would have been solved. I have pages and pages of notes that I took trying to see correlation of settings and what affected. If I reduce the color, do I see less bleeding? If I increase this, if I increase that, decrease this, etc. So yeah, I would like to see more emphasis placed on the pre-treating. I think that would solve a lot of problems.
Great. Well, it looks like you guys are off to a great start here. I look forward to seeing how you develop in this industry moving forward. And maybe we'll check in with you in a couple weeks and see how you're doing.
It sounds like a wonderful plan. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
It was my pleasure, Marcel. It was great talking to you.
Likewise.